man, these benzos really hit you. One second I'm in my cell, and now I'm in this room, wherever this is. Seems like I need a key to open that door. Hey, if I can actually get out of here, I'm not gonna complain. Looks like I've got some time to kill, and so will you with this exciting new product from today's sponsor. Come on, Mr. Beast gets advertisers and he hunts homeless people for sport. Condemned: Criminal Origins. Another Monolith game. Sorta like Fear's weird cousin, because it's made on the same engine, came out the same year on Xbox 360 and then the next year on PC. But this game is nothing like Fear, because it has no slow motion and you don't go around shooting things very much. This is like an actual survival horror game, and not a game where you survive mind-controlled soldiers in Norton Mapes' noxious odor. It's a game where you survive mind-controlled hobos and pick up dead birds. Wait, what? But it certainly doesn't have a protagonist that has supernatural abilities he got from some vaguely explained experiments. Oh, we got that too? We got some of that? Okay, but the gunplay sucks. Although that's by design. Condemned is a melee-focused game, published by Sega, though there's a WB Games logo in front of this, so we're not out of the woods yet. See, the Monolith crew at the time were working with a new version of their engine, Lithtech Jupiter EX, and I'm guessing that they started work on Condemned before Fear shipped, but they knew Fear was gonna be good, right? What kind of sick asshole hates Fear? So Jace Hall and Nathan Hendrickson, the former being friggin' Chernobyl and the latter being a Monolith level designer who worked on AVP2, yes, we will get to it one day, it's top-tier Monolith. Well, these two had an idea to make a different kind of first-person horror game that was influenced by gritty serial killer movies like Silence of the Lambs and Seven. That's right, kids, they put on their long legs and dipped into the world of real horror. Not like the pulpy camp horror of Blood or the soul-crushing violation of my hopes and dreams, Blood 2. Don't get me wrong, Condemned is a touch undercooked, a bit fucking raw! But not like Blood 2. I can actually understand why people enjoy Condemned. I don't hate it. Katie, no, please, I do not. Don't tell the kids that. I do not hate Condemned. I hate Condemned Criminal Origins. Oh god, this is gonna be worse than the Will Rock debacle. I've played Condemned once before, back when it came out, and I couldn't run it when I first got it because my graphics card didn't support Pixel Shaders 2.0, so I don't really remember much. I remember being chased through a farmhouse, and sometimes being scared. When I booted this up back in the day, a bunch of crap was missing, and I waited until I had access to a better computer to play it, because I didn't have an Xbox 360. But my friends who had them all told me the same thing. I had to send this piece of shit back to Microsoft and get it replaced because it got the red ring of death. They didn't play Condemned. Getting Condemned to run properly on modern systems is also a bit of a hassle. You need some fixes from the PC Gaming Wiki for widescreen and 4K, and a couple of other issues that we'll talk about later. This is the entry fee for playing anything on PC from before 2010. The introduction gives us some gritty, ominous stills from crime scene reports before showing Ethan Thomas, our player character and FBI serial killing investigator, pulling up in this admittedly graphically impressive little scene. Remember, it's 2005. This is as pretty as games got. See, he's got an earpiece that's... I guess the wire is run through his head? Shut up, commenters. He looks like he's got a bolt in his head.
Thomas!
Ah, okay, first jump scare of the game. Pretty effective. Oh, this fucking bloom. I'm trying to leave it on for the experience, but... ugh.
People are scared. We need to get this one.
As opposed to the serial killers we don't need to catch. This is your walk speed.
I'm getting too old for this.
I have a feeling I'm not gonna like the writing in this game.
I'm getting too old for this shit.
You gotta crouch to get under the tape.
Oh, okay, thanks. How do I... Right, it's one of those kinds of games where you press use to do anything. No jump, no crouch, just use.
Come on, let's go. Body's rotting as we speak.
Then you should let me walk faster.
The patrolman on duty said there was a mannequin involved, just like the matchmaker. Whole damn city's crawling with sick killers. God, and why do they always have to kill in such maggot-infested dumps? Why can't they pick a nice spot without addicts and gang members for once? There's someplace not so damn dark. Jesus H. Nearly shot the bastard.
A real cop would have mag dumped. Look at the size of that rat.
Come on, this place is creeping me out.
Right, okay. The real horror in this game comes not just from how slow you move, but from how slowly you walk upstairs. Characters in Condemned take stairs like a Belmont. You know, slowly, carefully, gingerly. But you can see the models take every step, and that's worth something. I guess. Not to Sega, who nuked this series after the second game and may have canceled the movie adaptation, but to us, the players. We're led into the crime scene, and I'm no forensics expert, but that looks like a dummy.
Sick bastard.
Oh. We get a call from Lieutenant Rosa, our lab tech, who will help us do the crime scene analysis during our adventure. Don't get too excited, it's pretty simple. Press button, focus on thing, press button again, listen to some exposition. Yeah, this is still a dummy.
Just a sec. Strangled by hand. Very forceful. Finger marks clear, except bruise intensity indicates the killer's right-handed, and missing the index finger on that hand.
I don't think I need a lab tech for this.
There must be something more. Something we're not seeing.
Alright, time to get out the— oh, Jesus, what the hell? Ethan is having a psychic vision, which tells him to get Rosa to tell him to run a laser light over the crime scene. You select the laser light by pressing the tool button. Condemned has a very efficient control scheme where you press the tool button to take out whatever tool you need at the time, because Ethan is psychic.
It's the work of a guy we've been calling the Matchmaker. Kills young women violently, poses them in grisly tableau with male department store mannequins. Mannequin always slightly disfigured by a mark on the face.
Cool. Very Red Dragon.
Becker, no smoking at a crime scene. I don't smoke. Well, someone was.
Oh god, we got a killer, let's go.
It's coming from in here.
No, that's fine, take your time.
Dang it. I can smell the cigarette smoke.
So as a detective, I go and look at the ash— oh, no, wait, never mind.
He's right above us. Call for backup now. Becker and I will head up the fire escape. You wait here for backup. Shit. Okay, now he's playing with us. Change of plans. Becker, secure that door. Thomas, check out the building and get these lights back on.
Now the game begins properly, as you have to search this building for the fuse box to turn the lights back on. You've got a gun, but this is a misdirection, because guns are somewhat rare and occasionally useless.
Oh yes, the city's full of them now, Thomas. Addicts, vagrants, psychotic individuals gone terribly bad. They come in all kinds.
I've somehow stumbled into the projects from Death Wish 3, and this game doesn't give you a machine gun, but you've also got a kick. God, I love the mid-2000s. It was such a special time. One thing Condemned does perfectly is atmosphere. I think it looks a little better than Fear, and the way rooms are decorated and laid out feels a bit richer than Fear's office buildings. If you see a bunch of eyes drawn on the wall, you'll also find a collectible piece of metal. Along with the metal scraps, you also collect birds. Dead birds, and what look like soon-to-be-dead birds. I've only got 9 bullets in my magazine, and that's all I'll get. You don't pick up extra ammo for weapons, and there's no reloading. You have to manually check the mag to see how much ammo you have, which I don't hate. It's not a bad mechanic for a survival horror game. You can use shift to sprint, which lets you run. Very slowly. Movement in Condemned is wildly different than what you might be used to, because it's deliberately slow, clunky, and awkward, like piloting a human mech. I finally find that cigarette in front of the fuse box, but I needed a psychic vision to tell me it was there. But when I turn the power on, I get electrocuted and this creepy guy grabs my gun. This seems like enough to deem Ethan completely unfit for duty, and he's taken off the case. Okay, well, the gun only has 5 bullets in it, and it can only hit something reliably if you're within melee distance, because that's kind of how you have to balance a game that focuses on melee combat. Which Condemned does, and now it's going to teach you how it works. Which is simple like the rest of the game's controls. I grab a pipe off the wall and get to see some stats. They help you determine the strengths and weaknesses of each weapon, helpfully comparing to the one you're currently carrying. You thought a 2-weapon limit was bad. Ethan can't carry more than 1 pipe. My first fight does not go well. I don't have the hang of the blocking yet, but this thug helps me out by accidentally hitting his friend. But look at everything going on. Your enemies are smashing into physics objects, hitting ceiling lights. It's really quite well done in terms of immersion. I found this game a bit easy because there's health seemingly everywhere. As a mostly linear game, they put health in areas knowing you probably will never visit them again. I want to go further, but a door prevents me from doing so. I need a fire axe? Don't you mean—
I need a key.
Yeah, this axe was just in the wall. It's not doing anything to this door. What about a key? What about kicking the door in like that other cop who had arthritis and couldn't walk good? Yeah, this guy.
We heard an explosion.
Yeah, I'm fine. It's just a fuse box shorted. I seem to be trapped over here, and I believe the suspect has my gun.
Dear God, he lost his gun? Oh my, I can't.
Here, take this fire axe and chop your way out.
There we go. Now you're speaking my language. To chop down a door, you have to hit it with an axe. But not anywhere, just where the prompt tells you it's the proper place, and you have to swing twice. He also tells me to use my taser to stun targets, which is probably the most effective weapon in the game. It practically auto-aims and is nearly instant. It takes about 10 seconds to recharge, but still, MVP of the game, especially later. You can usually stun in one hit with a powerful weapon like the axe. You can usually stun in one hit with a powerful weapon like the axe. Because this killer, who we'll call Killer X, is a lot stealthier than Paxton Fettel, and our hero doesn't have convenient psychic visions to tell him what's happening at the moment.
How does it feel to be on this end of the gun?
Pretty familiar, actually.
Listen, you bastard. Don't mess this up for us. We are both on the same path of righteousness.
Thomas!
And the path takes strange turns.
Freeze! Police! Drop the weapon now!
God, these cops are terrible.
Be ready for death, Agent Thomas. It shall come visiting again.
Why not just shoot him now?
You keep out of this. He doesn't have to shoot you now. He does so have to shoot me now. I demand that you shoot me now.
Now, he pushed me out a window when I fall 3 stories onto a car, which is not fatal. Ethan just has to sleep it off. I assume, like Fox Mulder, he doesn't have a bed. Get into the comments telling me about the water bed in Monday, kids.
I know I'm not supposed to have water, but I don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry.
Oops, my mistake. He had a bad dream. He doesn't seem to immediately notice the man sitting across from him.
Who are you? What is going on?
I might catch some heat for this, but Ethan's voice acting leaves a little to be desired.
Calm yourself. My name is Malcolm Van Horn. I was a great friend of your father's.
Okay, Condemned, why don't you introduce me properly to this character before bringing up any more, huh?
Yes, I remember you a long time ago, but why are you here now?
Last night, well, I was nearby. An unfortunate scene. You did your best, but it could not be helped.
What do you mean?
The detectives.
They're dead. Shot with your weapon. And you will be blamed for their deaths.
Oh, yeah, right.
Ridiculous. I'll just tell them.
What? Tell them the truth?
Yeah, just tell him that you suck as an FBI agent and you don't check your corners properly.
Starling, where's your danger area?
In the corner shop.
Did you check the corner?
No, sir.
That's the reason you're dead.
This is insane. I can't just give up the bureau.
It's already been taken from you. Now join me and help yourself.
Oh, what's that?
Open up, it's the police.
Damn.
Van Horn, with no real explanation of anything going on, even though he clearly knows more than he's saying, but that doesn't really matter, we gotta run from the cops now. And Killer X is just chilling across the street.
I am here to help. Now go.
Was my dad a cop? Were you a cop? Are you a cop now? Did you save me from that car and fix the horrible spinal injury I must have gotten? There's no time to explain anything because the writing in this game is slapdash at best and a collection of serial killer movie tropes thrown in a blender at worst. Celestial observer and puppeteer of the delicate strings holding reality together, John Carmack, was once quoted as saying,
"Story in a video game is like story in a porno. It's expected to be there, but it's not that important."
I think that's totally untrue of a game that has a narrative focus. That's right, I think John Carmack is wrong. But please don't let that get back to him. So yeah, now we're on the run from the police. This won't factor much into gameplay, because you don't fight police in this game. You fight vagrants and weirdos and little mutant things. But first, I have to open this gate with a code. Did I say a code because I meant a shovel? This doesn't fit in the keyhole, so we go into the tunnels and send some evidence to the lab.
Thank God. I thought they would have suspended my lab access.
Yeah?
They still might. It hasn't occurred to them yet.
I didn't kill those guys.
I know, Thomas. Well, I'm not certain what I do or don't know, but I'm pretty sure I still trust you. And that goes a long way.
Man, I wouldn't trust the FBI to find a stereo thief in a crack house. Someone's been stalking Ethan and taking pictures of him. They left evidence around. It occurs to me that this video, and lots of my videos, are front-loaded with this kind of stuff. And this video is no different because Condemned spends a lot of time setting things up before the player's sent to do a lot of the same things over and over. Mapes. He was here. Van Horn calls you again to tell you almost nothing.
But I am innocent.
I know that. You must prove that. One more thing. You have a special talent, a gift that very few of us have. We haven't time to discuss this fully, but...
Yeah, that's pretty much what you can say about the story of this game, but it's not about that. It's about the atmosphere, which is great. The vibes are impeccable. But I submit to you, dear viewer, that this game is the jankiest game since the dark times of Blood 2 and Shogo. Like I said before, it's not really bad like those games are, but... yeah. The slow movement and slower stair climbing is deliberate and helps you feel more vulnerable as a player. This is important and I think somewhat influential on the first-person survival horror game genre. If you want to see another game kind of like this, go look at Frictional's Penumbra series from a couple of years later. That company had then refined that into stuff like Amnesia. Condemned might not have been the first game to do it, but it seems like it was the most popular game at the time in that particular niche. I'm a little more forgiving of some of these design choices because they're usually effective. However, I'm always saying, Jesus Christ, can we please move a little faster? I get to the door that has a padlock on it and it says sledgehammer required. See? Nothing. I have a crowbar. I can't get a padlock off with a crowbar? What about a fucking key? I can open a padlock with a goddamn rock. I'm still hot on the trail of Killer X, finding the room he's been using to spy on me before he attacks me in a vision or a dream or something.
How would you die?
Oh, that's a graphics bug. Okay, let me go figure this out. I turned particle effects down to medium to get them to actually show up, and to prove it, here's an effectively creepy scene. Cool. I'm still going around collecting dead birds, as most sane people do. You guys have no idea how hard I had to fight this thing. I hope it tastes good. I won't say there's no fun to be had, because that's just not true. Combat can be quite fun. Like this guy here, coming at me with an axe. I've already got an axe, but...
You want this, don't you, pig?
This is even more fun when they've got guns. And the combat is fairly easy. Like, I don't need to know how to block that effectively because there's health everywhere. The thing about checking corners doesn't really help me because sometimes the game just screws you over with a guy coming out of thin air. Sheep? Absolutely. I'd have been mad if the next section wasn't a highlight of this game and gave me a really good idea what the designers were trying to achieve. You're chasing Serial Killer X and hop on the back of this subway train, the handle coming off and now in your hands as a weapon. Trapped on this tiny ledge, the train speeding faster than your average video game train, all the effects happening with the brakes and the sparks and the sound design, my god, the sound design. When a goon finally jumps onto the train, it feels electric. His animation is perfect, and he knocks you around a little so you feel like you're barely hanging on to this speeding subway car. Killer X smashes the window with a fire extinguisher and pushes you off, and now the glass on that door is intact again. So this moment of pure scripted 2000s perfection has sadly ended.
That's right, it's fucking wrong!
Back off the train, we are again stuck in some underground steam tunnels. It's not a sewer, I'm gonna be very picky about this. Today, we meet what you'd think would be the creepiest enemies in the game until you realize they go down with a taser shock or one hit from a weapon. Get that weak shit out of here. In terms of mid-2000s scripted sequences, this one's also pretty good, introducing a bigger enemy by showing him taking out smaller enemies. Oh, come on! This big guy isn't so tough. That's the strongest enemy type you're gonna face until the final level. Like I said, there's lots of health lying around in cabinets and stuff, so you can shit! Okay, Condemned, you're scary, I take it back! I know there are finishing moves too, but the timing and aiming is so finicky on them that I don't pull them off that much. A swing or a kick is easier. The blocking mechanics are a little weird to me still, like I can block, and the enemies can block, but sometimes it feels like it doesn't work so good for either of us. We do some light detective work to find the plaster from these mannequins that the matchmaker uses. Yeah, he's still somewhere in this game. He's hidden more mannequin parts in a subway train, and I have to examine those too so I can find out they come from Bart's department store. Not this arm though, with the clearly readable Bart's on the arm, the other arm. That's our next stop, and we have to run back through the tunnels to get back to the train platform so we can go back there and find something fun to do. The combat is fun enough, but you're doing the same thing for every enemy throughout the entire game, so there isn't much variety. Ethan takes a break to have a conversation with his boss.
Yeah.
Thomas, it's Farrell. Running from the Bureau will do no good. You know we'll find you eventually. Look, I understand. The caseload became too much. You weren't solving cases like you used to. You're talented, high-strung. You snapped. It happens sometimes.
Farrell is a guy from the FBI who I don't think you ever talk to again, and he's here to tell you that the caseload became too much. You weren't solving cases like you used to. You're talented, high-strung, you snapped. The kind of stuff you put in the beginning of your story, possibly by having a scene showing that Ethan is having some trouble doing his investigations, like maybe he presses the tool button and takes out the wrong thing. This game is written badly. The devs are hoping you don't notice by having Ethan hallucinate a creepy monster and sending you to... Oh, come on, we all remember the department store. I played it once almost 20 years ago, and I remember the department store. Oh, that's just lovely. Absolutely killer shit, Monolith, because now I'm eyeing every mannequin in this department store, wondering if it'll suddenly try to kill me. Rosa tells me that she's got evidence of 2 different suspects running around and that the killer I've been almost killed by twice isn't the matchmaker at all.
Blood droplet size and dispersal pattern indicate victim sustained a heavy blow. Height of blood on wall indicates it's possibly a head wound.
Hey, what are you doing, lady? I'm detecting over here. How do you get downstairs so fast? Okay, yeah, that's the one. That's the scariest moment of this game. Sir, I am investigating. I am an honest officer of the law. We find a dead matchmaker with a female mannequin in a changing room. He's missing a finger, just like we figured, and he's got traces of pesticides on him. I wonder if that'll lead to that little farm town we heard about earlier. Not yet, but it leads me to finding out about the grapple mechanic in this game, which sucks shit. I'm gonna be blunt about it. Swinging the mouse around to escape is awful and disorienting. I imagine it was probably a bit better on consoles with an analog stick. These jerk-offs grab you and start sapping health until you can get them off. The police show up, so it's time to leave. Rosa calls back and says this new guy, this new killer, Killer X, is not the matchmaker, and also not a charming-sounding fellow named the Torturer, but the matchmaker was killed using his own methods.
This guy goes around and kills the killers in the same way that they're killing the innocent. He's like an Uberkiller, a serial killer X, a perp not on your original case list.
An Uberkiller. Okay, game. There's no facial animations tied to this line. It would have been so easy to replace it. After a quick jaunt through the alleyways and a ride in a dumpster that wishes it was as exciting as that train ride, but when your objectives say, survive the runaway dumpster, it undercuts the horror in your horror game a little. After that, we head to the library to meet up with Rosa. She's in the basement. I think this is the wrong floor.
I used my security clearance to do a little checking up on you. I found this folder in your supplemental personnel file.
Wait, I have to open the folder? Just do it in the cutscene. Rosa tells Ethan that he's exceptionally strong, resilient, has a brain abnormality, and there's an X-ray that has a blacked out section of his chest, which probably means...
Hello, my baby! Hello, my honey!
No, it just means he has psychic powers, and I'm told the chest thing is explained later. In Condemned 2.
Oh, and I also left something there on the counter for you. Popular modification to the standard taser.
Oh. Oh no, that's good. We go to look up information on the torturer in the library database, which is apparently better than the FBI database that hints towards classified programs involving psychic detectives.
Damn it. Can anything else go wrong?
Uh-huh.
Well, Thomas, you're certainly not as much help as I thought you would be. I'd expected so much more from you. I was thinking... bitch!
Rosa! Rosa, are you there?
I'm sure she's fine. Anyway, this new taser knocks people right down and disarms them. All it took was, I guess, 6 AA batteries strapped to it. The game starts sending in the heavies now. A lot more armed goons than before, who seem strangely resistant to being hit with a shotgun blast. Cheap motherfucker. I do some IT work to get the network back online, which shows someone accessing something in the rare books room. Rose is fine, though.
Back off, you bastard. Come any closer and I'll rip your head off.
Yeah, she's okay. She did help Killer X look up some info on the torturer and your case list, so that's probably not good.
A retired gym teacher from the city's juvenile rehabilitation program has informed police of contact he had almost 8 years ago with a troubled youth named Carl Anderson, who reported fantasies that matched the torturer's methods exactly.
Carl Anderson. A gym teacher tells the cops on you, and now the teacher can't be found. Okay, Rosa, we have to find the school where this teacher worked.
And even if nothing else in this game was awkwardly written and delivered, standing over someone watching a non-full screen video on a web browser that plays a publicly available news story that gives us our next clues in the mystery, when you're in the FBI and should absolutely have better information on hand if there's a news broadcast about it, just let's move on. But first I'm turning off the bloom. It's disgusting. No kidding, we have to go downstairs and read another screen to find out where the school is, which Killer X eavesdrops on, so he knows too. Man, the FBI is bad at this. It's off to find the torturer because he was turned in by a gym teacher who noticed that this troubled youth he was mentoring was doing weird stuff like maybe, I don't know, playing with dead birds. See, the torturer, his MO is to torture people. He does this until they can't take it anymore and they off themselves. Grisly stuff that'll get this video demonetized, I can almost guarantee. We find the gym teacher's lips on a chalkboard and Mapes!
Waiting for you!
Mapes, you son of a bitch, I've been looking for you! We find the gym teacher's arm on a basketball hoop, and then we find Ethan's body. Wait, what?
Thomas speaking.
Thomas, I just wanted to make sure you met me out front when we were done. I didn't want to interfere with the investigation, but...
And then Ethan, don't give your character two first names, you... Ugh. It's a hallucination. You'd be able to tell better if I hadn't turned the bloom off. At least I pick up the best gun in the game, this rifle. Nice and accurate. There's a moment when you find the gym teacher which would pay off better if we hadn't seen this in a psychic vision earlier.
Help me.
Oh yeah, that's the stuff.
Help is on the way. Who did this to you?
Carl Anderson.
Okay, but the way he says it because he has no lips, it's a little funny, right?
Carl Anderson.
The torturer. Okay, take it easy. Do you know where he is now?
Other man came to Carl away.
Never mind, we're right back to creepy. But then he falls over and dies.
Rosa, send an EMT immediately. Cancel.
Conveniently, he also had a shovel with him so I can open this door. After a cool hallucination inside of an empty pool that's nice, very creepy, good job, we have some kind of episode and wake up somewhere different. You'd think something would come of this lost time in the story, but nah. Van Horn is here to help. Just like he said in that phone call that I assumed was a hallucination, making me think Van Horn was a hallucination because we haven't seen anyone interact with him. We heard him being questioned by police earlier, but nah, he's real. He gives us a ride to that farm we traced the pesticides back to. Good job, Rosa, you're the real hero here. It's time to wrap up this case, get all our questions answered.
So why are you in on this?
He asks with the same tone he'd ask someone why they're also involved in his fantasy football league.
I have a sense of responsibility. I needed to help.
Help? You mean with my investigation?
Yes, among other things.
Jesus Christ, come on.
There was a time I thought I was the best investigator the Bureau ever had. Now it seems they were interested in me for other reasons.
What do you mean?
I saw my file. Apparently I'm some sort of circus freak to them.
That may not be helpful. I wonder how much they know of what is happening.
I can answer that. Nothing. They know nothing. I know nothing.
I would stay away from the Bureau as long as I could.
It's not like I have much choice, since they still think I killed those two officers.
Their deaths were unfortunate, but maybe it's best this way.
Best? You seem to know a lot more about what's happening than you're letting on.
This man is a special investigator for the FBI.
But I don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry.
No time to tell us what's happening. We gotta get to the farmhouse for what is actually quite spooky. For a while. See, you have to follow these trails you can only see with your special forensic tools. They reveal a message. The dark path. Hey, get out of here! Federal agent! Important shit! To righteousness. Okay. Beyond which you... see yourself to be. Oh, goddammit, stop it! I'm detecting over here!
A clue, perhaps.
So, the dark path to righteousness is beyond which you can see yourself to be. It means I have to open this mirror, which I found long before I found all the clues, leading me to looking around the basement a lot. The basement has respawning enemies that'll harass you the whole time. However... Hey, buddy. You okay? You got problems with stairs, too? Behind the mirror is a secret room where you can tell this killer is very interested in Ethan. Why? Because they kind of have the same job now, especially since Ethan isn't really working with the FBI anymore.
I can't take this anymore. My ears. My hands.
Oh, sounds like we got the torturer. But oh no, Killer X pushes a piano down the stairs, which is an insurmountable obstacle until I get another axe. I have to fight some goons until one of them brings me an axe. This is one of those things that I feel brings Condemned down a little. The atmosphere is scary, but the gameplay feels so artificial and gamey at times that it sucks the life out of it. When I do finally get up there, I get a psychic vision of the torturer impaling himself several seconds before I find the torturer impaled. Meaning that Ethan's psychic abilities are actually getting less useful as the game goes on. But he's got a plan, right? Which is a stupid plan in that he's going to put on the torturer's clothes and pretend to be him to fool Killer X. Bad disguises and falling pianos, we have gone full Looney Tunes. As a setup to a tense scene where you're watching the reflection of Killer X in the TV waiting to make a move, outstanding. If I had any control over this whatsoever, I'd be pretty invested. As it stands, now I have to do battle against Killer X.
So sad. Now. You shouldn't have come here.
Okay, screw the fire poker. Well, I'm out of ideas. Come on, it's okay. I'm not gonna hurt you. I just have a sledgehammer because I was working on the railroad. Yeah, the railroad. Get over here, you... Oh my God.
Leland, nephew, please listen to me.
No, stop. You did this for your nephew? Also, dynamite script writing. Very natural to refer to someone as nephew. Really hitting a home run with this reveal in that I don't give a shit about baseball. Your nephew has killed a bunch of people, including 2 cops, and you knew this the entire time, and let your close friend's son take the blame for it. What did you think Ethan was gonna do? Arrest him? Get him psychiatric counseling? Braid his fucking hair? Leland, our Killer X, presumably kills Van Horn. Then Ethan wakes up in a barn.
Welcome to consciousness, my friend. Though you won't enjoy it long. We were good in the beginning. But you turned out to be kind of a failure, didn't you? Huh?
Listen, I have a much higher body count than you do, man. You've been stalking me, right?
I watched you, and followed you, and used you to find the serial killers you so desperately sought, and then killed them.
Why? You could have just gone to the fucking library, apparently. He gloats for a while and cuts off your finger. But what's this? Van Horn isn't dead?
Quickly! You must find and destroy it. It has caused all this madness. Go, kill it.
I guess I'll know it when I see it. I grab a burning piece of wood and make it outside.
You belong to us, Ethan. You've always belonged to us.
What follows is a fairly tense combat section across this whole farm, fighting a lot of these big guys, the stronger enemies I told you would be coming. They're tough, but the 2x4 swings so fast. I I get attacked once by the Stickman again. There's so much health and weaponry lying around that I don't find it very challenging until Stickman locks you in a barn and you have to face a small army of the ugliest of goons. Honestly, I'd do a montage of it if you hadn't already seen the combat of this game over and over. So let's pick it up at the final showdown, where Stickboy finally comes out to play for real. I have to stagger him and then do a finisher, but like I said, the finishers are finicky. They're finicky finishers. The finishers, they're finicky, Jerry. We rip something off of him, but it's too dark for me to tell what, and he jumps through the ceiling. I know I have to go face him upstairs. Oh, this'll work. You know, for a game with such good sound design, someone on the team must have said, that noise when the stick hits things is kinda dull and not very intimidating. I pull out another piece of his spine and we transport to wherever this is. Looks like they've covered up the pool finally. Good thing too, that was an accident waiting to happen. Come on, let me grab his jaw. Finally, I do away with this villain of the game. Lame boss fight, 2 out of 10. Ethan escapes the burning building and Van Horn is there to pick him up and have another heart-to-heart as they drive home.
I can never go back, can I?
No, not to the Bureau, not to your old life. Thomas, you have looked into the face of hate, the visage of evil. Know that hate is in your soul, too. It is, sadly, everywhere. Mastering one's fear and controlling one's hatred is perhaps the most difficult thing one can do.
Oh, okay, Obi-Wan. Is that why you let your nephew frame me for 2 murders? Asshole. Speaking of...
Stop the car.
No, you still don't understand. He's done unspeakable things, even though those he killed were killers themselves.
Van Horn argues that Leland was being controlled by an evil force when he murdered people, and oh no, don't you think you can just roll that Twin Peaks reference past me, Condemned?
I don't care whether the sick fuck is in his right mind or not.
Think of what you are doing! Both of you have a chance for redemption.
And he's right, even though I'm not sure what Ethan has to atone for, unless you're saying that him killing all those people to get here was wrong too, because they were getting mind-controlled. It certainly would be weird if you held off telling me something like that until the sequel. I don't know, man, I can't with this story anymore. The game gives you a choice whether to kill Leland or not, and I guess I start smashing mouse 1 too late because Leland grabs a gun and offs himself. And then Ethan is in a coffee shop meeting Rosa, who informs him that she's wired and that, you know, his life is kinda over. She says all this stuff is related to a cult, but we don't get much information about that until the next game, which I haven't played because it was a console exclusive for some reason. And then Ethan has a jump scare hallucination and the game is over. Whether or not you kill Leland has no effect on the ending of this game, and neither does collecting all that crap that unlocks extra stuff. You handled dozens of dead birds for nothing. Alright, I found the key. You wouldn't believe it. It was inside the bird. As soon as I took a bite, cracked one of my teeth on it. So now, kids, it's onward to freedom. Oh, god fucking damn it.